Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Burning Conversations. My name is Anastasia Douglas. I am your podcast anchor. And today we have a very special guest with us, actually. Now, if you don't know this, on August 28th, the NSU Demon football team secured their first win since November 5th, 2022 against Alcorn State. And actually, we have the person who led the charge in that fight against Alcorn State as well, our very own NSU football head coach, Blaine McCorkle. Thank you so much, Coach McCorkle, for joining me today, and also congratulations on the huge win as well.
Well, thank you on both. I'm glad to be with you.
So we'll get to that huge win in a second, sure, actually, but we're going to talk about you first. Now, football is not an unfamiliar sport for you. Your father was a head coach. So when you became head coach of NSU, how was the transition in that, going from knowing you had a father to kind of teach you some of those skills and elements, then you having to apply those actually?
Well, I did grow up in it. I tell people I'm 49. I've been in college football 49 years, so this is nothing new. I really don't know life without it. I was a head coach before I came here at my previous stop, so I'm going into year 8 of being a head coach. So kind of by that point, you kind of made your own path and have your own way of doing things, but it is nice to always have him there to kind of lean on and throw stuff at. And he doesn't offer much advice. He just kind of sits back and watches and tries to enjoy it. But I probably ask him more than he offers. He kind of lets me do my thing. But it's definitely a family business. He was in it for 47 years. My first cousin's the head coach at Dartmouth right now. And then we've got an older cousin who's retired. He was a college head coach for a while. So it's kind of family business. We got 4 of us in the family. So it's what we do.
So you were actually an offensive lineman back in your day. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I was an offensive lineman in high school, yes.
Okay.
When I went to college, I was way too small to do that. So I was a long snapper in college, but in high school, I was that 175-pound center that was biting everybody's ankles that every other high school has. But I knew I could snap, so I went to college to do that. And then naturally, because of my background and what I knew I wanted to do, hung out with the offensive line, went to all their meetings, spent a lot of time with the offensive line coach in college, and that's how I kind of transitioned to it. But yeah, that's kind of where my passion is within the game, is in that spot up front for sure.
When you were hired as NSU's next football coach, what went through your mind? Because our team has gone through a lot. What was going through your mind, and how can I bring some energy and power and help our football team actually secure a win?
Well, it was a very humbling experience, just to be, kind of counted worthy to be a Division I coach, to be at Northwestern State, to be in the Southland Conference. But one thing that kind of went through my mind a little bit was the sad state that our profession's in, because you hear coaches all the time talk about that they coach to, grow good husbands and fathers and future citizens and all that stuff. Well, they don't mean it, because if they did, every coach in the country would have applied for this job, because there was not a more broken or hurting football program in America at the time than the one at Northwestern State. So if coaches say that, and that's their rhetoric, why did everybody not apply for this job? And that's something that really kind of hit me was, all right, if I am who I say I am, then this is an opportunity to truly make a difference and do some things at a place that's hurting and in need right now. Because, coaching is just being a teacher and a mentor, and that's what we're called to do. So find the people that need it the most. A lot of people, want their next job to be one that's easy and ready-made, and they can go in there and win a championship and move on. But if you do that, how good do you really feel about yourself? So we knew what we signed up for. It was rare. It's a brutally hard job to get this thing right because of everything that's happening, where it's coming from. But we knew what we got into, and that kind of motivates us.
How did your family react to the news of you being NSU's next football coach?
They were excited. They knew that it was a great opportunity, and being back in Louisiana and at this level, something that I always wanted to do. So I think they were nervous, excited. So yeah.
So how did you gear our players up for this upcoming season? Now, I had heard that they practice hard throughout the summer. So what did you tell them, and how did you keep them motivated throughout the summer, then into the season now?
Well, there's a lot that goes into that, and that's a year-long process. Culture is something that's fluid. It changes every day, and you have to create a culture where it's just understood that you are going to practice hard. Practicing hard is nothing uncommon. That's just kind of a basic requirement. Mm-hmm. If you don't practice hard, don't play the game. All you're going to do is go out there and get hurt and get beat. So practicing hard is a simple, basic standard. So I'm never going to pat anybody on the back for practicing hard. That's what you're supposed to do. But it's all the extras that go into it. the unity that comes with our team, the character of our team, the toughness that's come with our team, the levels of trust and accountability that have grown over the last year have really been remarkable to watch. And I've kind of made the comment several times that the team that I had a year ago in year one was kind of a hard team to like. They really were for a lot of reasons. Doesn't mean I didn't love them. Doesn't mean I didn't give them my best.
Yes.
But there was a lot not to like about that team. They had a lot of growing up, a lot of maturing to do. A lot of people left and needed to leave because they couldn't hold the standard that is going to win here at Northwestern State. This team this year is completely different. I fully trust them. They're young, so they're still immature and they've still got a lot of growing to do, but I trust them. They have high character. And they're kind of purpose driven, so that makes them a little bit, where that one was hard to like, this one's hard not to love. It's a completely different mindset. So, motivating this team hasn't been hard because they've got kind of a healthy chip on their shoulder. We talk about they're joyfully angry. That's real. They come to work with a smile on their face, but they know they've got a lot to prove.
That's good. And I'm going to tell you now, I saw personally a different team Thursday, August 28th. I was walking from the tailgate, and before I could even get in my seat, NSU had already scored a touchdown. And I was like, what? Already? I was like, okay, let me sit down here. So what was the...
Well, that's your fault for showing up late.
Yeah, I know, that is my fault.
That's on you. Yeah.
I should have shown up on time, but...
We're not waiting on you to play fast. So,
I know.
Yeah.
But, what was the energy and the atmosphere going into game one like?
It was good. I think our students showed up. I think a Thursday night home opener is a lot of fun because it does draw a little bit bigger crowd with the student body and people in town and things like that. So, a Thursday night game is always a lot of fun, and the energy was great. The crowd was great. The only disappointing thing was when we had the lightning delay. I think that hurt the crowd because a lot of people left and didn't come back and whatever. But no, it was a great atmosphere, and our kids like playing at home. They like playing, in front of a good crowd, and it was a lot of fun.
Going through, I know the whole rain delay was a big part of the game because obviously people left, and then, players might get a little down and stuff, but that did not stop our demons, actually. They kept the opposing team from scoring for a good little while, actually. Checking the score, it was about 13-0 for a while, and then the other opposing team finally got 10, but the resulting score at the end of the game was Alcorn State 10 and then our NSU Demons 20. So when you saw after the fourth quarter, the timer went to 0-0-0, what was your thoughts during that time?
I was happy for our players. That's something that we've been working on for the 21 months we've been here, is to see happy faces in the locker room after the game, and that's you kind of live for that as a coach, just to see those faces when you go in that locker room of just sheer joy and excitement, and just that just putting everything you have into a worthy call and seeing it come to fruition. There's nothing more satisfying for that. So I was really relieved, because we'd all been waiting a long time for that day to come. But I was happy for the campus and the city of Natchitoches too, because our football team was really broken and hurting from everything that had happened here in the past, but the campus and the city were too. So I think the whole city of Natchitoches took a collective sigh of relief, and everybody said, you know what, we're going to be okay. We're going to get through this. We're alive and well. We're not going anywhere, and Northwestern State football is kind of here to stay. So I think that was kind of my range of emotions. But the biggest one, I was just happy for our kids to see their faces.
Now, I had heard rumors before the game happened that students were saying, if we win, we're storming the field. And I was like, okay, well, that's, you guys do that. And then they actually did storm the field when y'all won. How did you feel just seeing all the student body gathering on the football team, supporting them, being happy? What was your...
Well, it felt like college athletics at its finest. That's what college athletics is. And in the day we live in now with portals and NILs and the you go out and get yours mindset, that's getting lost a little bit on kids. And I think that's a shame that they're missing out on those opportunities. So it felt like college athletics should feel, a whole campus coming together, celebrating a win, having a lot of school pride, and just loving where you're at. Those are the things that make college athletics special, not the business side of it that it's unfortunately turning into.
Well, I can tell you one thing. Everybody in the city was happy. There were news reports going down. If you checked Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, even just watching the local news, they reported on it, and I believe everybody was just happy. So the NSU football team is going on the road for a little bit, and we will not have another home game until October. Yep. How can you keep that mentality that y'all did on game one here at home and transfer it to those on the road games?
Well, the next 2 weeks we don't have a choice because the two opponents we're playing, if you don't show up ready to play, you may die. Right? So it's these next two opponents are Power 4 opponents. We're going to play a Big Ten school for the first time in school history at the University of Minnesota. That is a completely different world and realm than we play in on a weekly basis. But I'm excited for our kids to get to experience that. And then the next week we do it again at Cincinnati against a Big 12 opponent. So it's an opportunity for our kids to get in front of the big crowd. Everybody on our program probably at some point dreamed of being a Power 4 football player or has a chip on their shoulder and thinks they should be. Well, now the next 2 weeks they get to find out if they are or not. Half the kids on our team think they're going to play in the NFL. Some might. But the two teams we're about to play the next 2 weeks will have a number of players that will go play at the next level. So it's a great opportunity for our kids to, kind of play against the best, see who they are. So I don't think I'll have much trouble keeping them motivated the next 2 weeks because if they don't, they'll be in for a world of hurt. And they'll be excited just for those atmospheres. And then we come back and go on the road to Prairie View, who beat us on the last play of the game last year. We had a chance to get one last year and they didn't. And I think that's one that they've been counting the days to for a long time. I'll have no problem getting them juiced for that one.
Now, our players, they're athletes, but they're also students. So how do you keep them not just motivated, but also help them find that balance between athletics and then also their schoolwork as well?
Yeah, it's a big deal. And really, you do it because it's the right thing to do, right? Like the guys are here to get an education, to get a degree, and to do those things. And we spend a lot of time talking academics. There's hardly a day that goes by that in our team meeting or in our position meetings we don't talk academics. There's a lot of accountability with the academics. Our study hall program with our team is stringent. Just this morning, I've seen probably 20 of our players come through to check in for study hall, and that's what they do. If they're not in class, they're in our building studying, and we're on it pretty heavily. We kind of tier it by GPA. Wherever your GPA falls is how many hours you owe. Freshmen have to be in there so many hours the first year, things like that. So we stay on it pretty good. But the business side of that is that the higher your GPA, the higher your retention, the more guys that graduate, the better that is for you as an athletic department because of the APR. So if you don't meet certain standards, you lose things, right? So there's definitely a business side to having to do that as well. So it's a balance. It's hard. Our guys do things that everybody else on campus does not do, but that's why they're unique and special. I didn't say better than, but they are required to do things that the average student doesn't have to do, so it does take a little bit more from them. So we stay on it pretty hard.
So, Coach, how as NSU football Demon fans, how can we keep our players motivated, not just at home games, but also on away games as well? How can we keep supporting them?
Show up, take a road trip. You ever been to Minnesota?
No, sir.
It's a great week to go. It's a great week to go.
Are y'all compensating me?
No.
Okay.
No. But if you love the Demons, you'll show up. But no, I think we do travel well, and our parents, and we do have a certain fan base that does travel with us, and those things are great. But I think the biggest thing is knowing they're not going to be here. You guys see them every day in class. You see them walking around campus. You see them in the cafeteria. Go give them a high five, give them a hug, wish them well. Say, hey, I know you're on the road, but we'll be pulling for you. We'll be watching on ESPN, whatever, and let them know that you hadn't forgotten them just because there's not a home game. So those things go a long way, and encouragement's powerful. So when you see them, just love them up and give them a high five, and don't talk about Alcorn State. We're over that. We're moving on.
Yes.
Just say, hey, good job, but excited to see what you do this week. And I think those things are pretty powerful.
So lastly, what is your favorite part about being the head coach of NSU for football?
Oh, that's easy. The players. Yeah, the players are why you do it. This summer, a lot of times, your strength coach has the players all summer, and your coaches are kind of in and out, working camps and doing some recruiting and taking their vacation, whatever. But this summer I didn't. I stayed here, and my son's playing at the high school, and I would drop him off for his workouts every morning. I'd get in my car and I'd get here as fast as I could to watch our team work out. And that's not something that I have to do. Your strength coach kind of takes it, but I just wanted to be around them because I really liked the way they were working. I liked watching them gel. I liked who they were. So anywhere you coach, the players are what gets you up in the morning. Not all the outside factors. Not the media attention, not the fan base, not the donors, not the student body. Like, those things are all great, but at the end of the day, it's about the guy who puts on the helmet, and just making sure that you're doing everything you can to speak into their life and help them grow into everything God made them to be, because they're all unique and they're all special, and God's got a plan for all of them, and it's my job to help them achieve that. So whether I'm at Northwestern State or anywhere else, that's always going to be what gets me up in the morning.
That's awesome, Coach McCorkle. We're all going to be looking for some great things from our football team this season. So thank you so much for being here with me, talking with me today. I truly appreciate it. And Forkum Demons.
You bet. Thanks for having me. And we'll see everybody back in Turpin Stadium that first week of October for homecoming week. So
absolutely.
It'll be here before you know it.
Yes.
That's right.
Thank you guys so much for joining and watching today. If you would like to follow more on the football team's schedule, you can visit the NSU Demons Athletics page. Just a quick reminder to please follow our school newspaper, The Current Sauce, on Instagram, and also follow for some more stories as well. You can look these up at purplemedianetwork.com/The Current Sauce to look at more stories that The Current Sauce has posted around. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. My name is Anastasia Douglas, and I will see you guys very, very soon. Thank you.